Andalusia is Spain's southernmost province. It is a magical place. Its landscape is stunning, and its cultural heritage was forged at the place where Africa meets Europe and where Christianity, Judaism, and Islam had their longest coexistence, a time that historians call the Convivencia. Starting in the year 711 with the expansion of the Umayyad Empire into the Iberian Peninsula, and ending in 1492 with the consolidation of Roman Catholic control over the territory we now call Spain, Muslims, Christians, and Jews lived together in Andalusia in relative peace. This three-way religious coexistence was not perfect, and it was never complete. Goodwill waxed and waned depending upon time and place, but the Convivencia remained intact for almost 800 years, mostly thanks to Muslim leadership, but even in parts of Andalusia that came under Christian control and, for a short time in Granada, under Jewish control, the principles of Convivencia endured until the advent of the Spanish Inquisition under the leadership of Ferdinand and Isabella, neither of whom were from Andalusia. After the establishment of the Inquisition, many folks from Andalusia left the Iberian Peninsula to live in Spain's colonies in the Americas, including in California. It's not by accident that the highest mountains in Andalusia and in California are both called Sierra Nevada. In the spring of 2022, I will be traveling to Andalusia, and I hope you will join me. We'll be spending a week together, first in Granada, where the Convivencia ended, and then in Cordoba, where it began, and we'll be talking together about what made the Convivencia successful when it was successful, and what made it fail when it didn't work out so well. We'll also be meeting with Muslims and Jews currently living in Spain to learn about the Convivencia's living legacy. I hope we also can learn about the history of Convivencia and how it shaped the history of California and formed who we are, we who live in Oakland. Our studies will be led by Daniel Munoz. Daniel is a professor of church history at Madrid's Protestant Seminary. Daniel is an Anglican priest who also happens to work as a pastor in the Spanish Presbyterian Church. I first met Daniel and his husband Guy at a retreat center that they operated together in the Sierra Nevada, the Spanish Sierra Nevada. And I found Guy and Daniel to be hospitable and kind and really smart. They will be traveling together with us, and we'll be making all of the arrangements for our travel and lodging and sightseeing and most of our meals in Granada and in Cordoba. In addition to teaching us about the Convivencia, Daniel also will be leading us in spiritual reflection and in worship together. The plan for the journey is this. Each traveler will make their own arrangements to get to Granada on March 28th, 2022. We will spend 3 days in Granada and 3 days in Cordoba, after which travelers will each go on our separate ways. Between our arrival in Granada and our departure from Cordoba, we will be hosted by Guy and Daniel. Before and after, each of us will be on our own. The cost for this week in Andalusia is not yet set in stone. It kind of depends on things like exchange rates and the lingering effects of the COVID pandemic and upon how many people make the journey together. But I expect it to be under $1,500 per traveler and a little less if you will be sharing a hotel room with a friend or loved one. That cost covers lodging, 2 meals a day, transportation between Granada and Cordoba, entry into tourist sites, and it covers the costs of those leading the trip, which is to say Daniel and Guy and me. I need to let Guy and Daniel know how many of us will be traveling by September 15th of this year, and so I would love to know if you would like to join the trip by September 10th. Now, at Montclair Presbyterian Church, we have a long history of taking trips together for the purpose of learning and of deepening our spiritual connection to the world that exists beyond California and outside of the United States. MPC folks have traveled together to visit everywhere, from Bolivia to the Holy Land, from Indonesia to Geneva. But as we gain a knowledge about how air travel affects climate change, these journeys are going to be happening less frequently, and they may cease to happen altogether. So, if you were wondering about whether to come on this trip or wait until the next trip, I'd say come now. I cannot say for sure when or even if another trip like this one will take place. Please email me using the email address below me here. Email if you have any questions. I would love to have you along. join me in Andalusia. Adios.